Terry, get that fucking hat. Just pull it. Just pull it up. I know you're tired, but we gotta see this.
Yeah, I'll try and stay awake for the movie. I just woke up from a nap not too long ago.
Like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Independence Day 2 is a film that I wanted to happen for a while, and then I gave up on it, and now that it's happened, I'm like,
Oh,
did it really need to happen?
Yeah, I mean, first movie, some people liked it, some people hated it, I think, but...
I was one of the people that, liked it a little more. But you can't have an Independence Day movie without Will Smith.
That's true, you can't. I mean, he was doing, I think, Suicide Squad while they were filming this, so he couldn't be in this movie.
Oh, man, August seems so far away.
I know,
I have to get through all these shit movies.
I know.
Hopefully this movie's not shit. I have a feeling like it's gonna join this big collection of unnecessary sequels for money.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of my friends have actually said that the movie's pretty good. So I'm hoping, Jeff, that you come through with me and you don't fuck me.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, I kind of know what to expect. I don't expect it to be a very great movie, but I know it's just going to mostly be special effects. So.
Speaking of the special effects, I'm someone who doesn't mind a lot of damage in their movie, like buildings falling down, It's
like Man of Steel.
Yeah, that's why I love Man of Steel. I love seeing Metropolis just fucked, From the trailers, this looks a bit much. And if I'm saying that, I can't imagine what everyone else is saying. I mean, I think there was a shot of just, the fucking new mothership, and, it's bigger than Earth, and it's, just, all these countries just gone. And I'm like, that looks like CGI, cumlad, And getting behind the whole, using the alien tech, it just looks like a completely different movie, which could be better or for worse,
It could.
Tarek, you gotta wake up and say something.
I'm sorry. I'm so tired. I mean, like I said, I don't really mind destruction in movies as well.
I said that.
I know.
You didn't say anything. You need to wake up right now.
Oh, what's going on? Anyway, you ever see Godzilla?
The new one?
Yeah,
with Bryan Cranston for 15 minutes.
Right? They advertised Godzilla and Bryan Cranston in the trailers, and barely either of them were in the movie, and we get Aaron fucking Taylor Johnson and boring-ass military guy, and...
What does that relate to this movie, Tarek?
There was no destruction in that movie.
Okay. 10 o'clock at night. Your life must suck.
Yeah. I feel like Matt reviewing Warcraft. I feel pretty chill.
Fuck Matt. I love Matt, but fuck him.
Alright, are you ready to see this?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Alright, I'll catch you in a bit.
Wow.
Yeah, it was... I mean, it wasn't bad, it was just...
The movie is an hit best.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It's about 12 o'clock at night.
It was like 2 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. Maybe 2 minutes over, but...
I don't know, it felt longer than that.
It felt really long for, I've seen movies that have been way longer and have felt shorter. What the hell is wrong with this runtime? like, when the aliens and, you know, like, the battle stuff were on screen, you know, sometimes it was really corny, like, really, really ridiculously corny, but there was, like, a few times where it was legitimately cool.
Yeah,
And,
it was entertaining. It was nice to watch. I wasn't even on camera, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of different, like, concepts that they were trying to, you know, incorporate, you know, with this resurgence of aliens. Like, obviously, there's a scene, it's about, like, 2/3 of the way in the movie, they go into the big hive, and it's a trap. And I thought that was really neat how the queen alien kind of baited them in. Because, that might be a little bit of a spoiler, but really it's not, because no one dies.
Well, some people die in this movie. No one important, but people die.
Yeah, a lot of people die in this movie. So if you have any sort of criticisms with Man of Steel and the amount of destruction in Metropolis that Superman and Zod caused in their clash, you will absolutely hate this movie. I mean, even when they're terraforming in Metropolis, they, like, lift the gravity and then shove it back down to, you know, cause, like, the buildings to rise and fall. I mean, this movie literally does that on a humongous scale. Like, I'm pretty sure multiple countries at one point are lifted up and then smashed back into the ground.
Right.
So if you're someone who can't stand destruction porn in movies, I mean, you will hate this movie, because I'll even admit some of the destruction, it's cool to look at, and, like, I think the visuals range from super awesome to super not awesome. It's a bit ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
And so pretty much I like the aspect of the aliens having 20 years to prepare. That you kind of have to turn your logic brain off, because I'm pretty sure wherever the aliens inhabit would take a lot longer than 20 Earth years to get here. Like, you're talking light years, like millions of light years away. I mean, probably even billions, because I think the sun's only 93 million. Maybe it's just 93 miles. I'm done with high school. I don't care. I feel stupid for watching this movie. I think most of the actors, in general, they did a good job. I wish I could remember, heck, even their names.
I could not tell you a single character's name in this movie.
Yeah. And, like, I mean, we're both wide awake. Tarek was tired earlier, but, I mean, he looks pretty well. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm still tired. This pop isn't helping, so whatever.
But yeah, I think they're decent. I think they're alright if they're gonna really try and scrape for a Ghostbusters 3. Because obviously this movie's trying to set up a sequel.
Wait, Ghostbusters 3? You mean Independence Day 3?
Yeah. Maybe this movie really was so shitty that it's just, I lost a bunch of brain cells from it.
Yeah. I mean, there was only like 4 people in the whole theater, including us. So.
And we probably ruined the movie for them a little bit.
Yeah, well, they left like as soon as the credits rolled. Like, they got the hell out of Dodge.
They bolted it. Like, I've never seen someone get out of a movie that fast.
Yeah.
Like, even when the 4 of us, me, you, Trevor, and Tara, we saw Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Like, they bolted out pretty fast. I mean, these people booked it. Like, I thought they were gonna, like, come up the stairs and talk to us and, like, complain at us or something. No, I mean, they left. Like, I mean, as soon as it faded to black and you saw the first name, they're like, okay.
Yeah, they must not have liked it, I guess.
I feel like this movie would have been a lot better, and I would have liked it more if it came out, like, 6 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of came out too late, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that was like, it took way too long to make, and it was a cool movie for the most part, but it's just, we're older, and we've seen shit.
We've seen so many of these, like, destruction movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and the director, and you can tell this in the movie, the director directed a little film called 2012, and you can really tell it in this movie.
I feel like we're splitting apart.
I mean, this movie just stinks of disaster in 2012.
2012. He did, I think, The Day After Tomorrow, I think it's called.
Oh, really?
And 10,000 BC, and
I saw 10,000 BC once, and that was like on DVD, and I don't remember if I liked it or not. I probably fell asleep during it.
And he also did the 1998 Godzilla with Matthew Broderick.
Really?
Yeah.
So
He's not the best director, but
this might be his best work, all things considered.
yeah, this and the first Independence Day. So
I was complimenting some of the effects. I said they ranged from super awesome to super not awesome. I think the aliens looked like shit. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I loved how they looked in the original. Like, I'm pretty sure like more practical effects were used in that.
But in this one, they're just all
They're
CGI.
very obviously CGI, and especially like when they're out of their big predator shell. I mean, they just look like squids, like CGI squids, and it looks like shit. Thank God Will Smith's not in it, because I mean, Will Smith deserves better than to punch a puppet, like a green screen puppet.
Right.
But that's something that like all these movies do. Like with Ghostbusters, like all these CGI ghosts, like the original effects, like look so much better.
Yeah, because they use practical effects. They didn't have to rely on some computer.
And I'm not against CGI movies, but when it's done
right, and
no, when it's done poorly, I can't take it seriously. It looks fake. And I know that's saying shit in a movie about aliens invading Earth, but you know, if you want me to take it as seriously as possible, then make your aliens look believable. Don't make them look like cartoons. This movie does pay homage to the original. A little more than I would have liked to have seen, but it doesn't forget about it, unlike Ghostbusters. This movie respects the original Independence Day, probably unlike Ghostbusters. I'm glad the original cast actually had roles in the movie, and they weren't just cameos like they will be in Ghostbusters.
yeah, I like that too.
Obviously, the original president in the first Independence Day movie has a significant role in the movie, and his character actually matters.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Goldblum. He's a good actor. Did not need to be in this movie whatsoever. He was the character that, I mean, he was literally Morgan Freeman. Like, he just explained what was happening as we were seeing it happen.
Pretty much.
And like, I'm wondering if the entire premise of Independence Day is just an elaborate, like, pranked episode, and he's just like in on the act or something, because he knows what's gonna happen when there's no way that he could have known. Like, when everything's being risen up, he's like, what comes up must come down, and then everything falls down. Like, how did you know that was gonna happen?
I know, right?
And then, I mean, he does that a lot in this movie, and I think it's just the script. I think
that is one of my biggest pet peeves in movies, just having a character that has to explain every little thing in, like, whatever is going on. Like in Fantastic Four, at the end of the battle, Reed Richards has to explain everything, what is going on, and what Dr. Doom is doing. But anyway.
Yeah. Let's not talk about a worse movie than this right now. I mean, there's a lot that I want to talk about with this movie, but I can't remember. It's really forgettable, and it sucks to say that.
Yeah, it is. One thing I found weird was that why were there so many comic relief characters? Like, there was like 4, I think.
Yeah, this was one of my praises of the film. It was a little funny. Like, it was a little funnier than the original, which, you know, you can go for humor. I mean, go right ahead. If you can pull off humor in a disaster movie, great. It adds another layer of it. Most of the humor in this movie wasn't on par.
It was, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like cringeworthy, but it was just like, you know, it was kind of lame.
I mean, the movie was kind of up its own ass with a lot of its jokes and references to the original. Like, well, they like to get the landmarks, because in the original they got the White House and the Statue of Liberty, and they just had to make a quip or two. In this movie,
yep,
and it wasn't cringeworthy, and I can live with that. It was just awkward, if anything.
Like Ghostbusters.
My God, everyone in this movie is trying to fight for screen time, and it's blatant in this movie. Like, nobody gets enough screen time in this movie. Like, there are like a bunch of subplots that they're trying to balance, and like the movie will just completely forget about one for like, I shit you not, 40 minutes, and then bring it back like you're supposed to remember it. And there was one time I'm like, oh, they keep introducing new characters. No, they were in the movie like 40 minutes before, and the movie just forgot about them and brought them back like we were supposed to remember them. Like, the aliens come back to suck up the energy from the core, you know, for their big, you know, planet harvesting ship, because they're at an intergalactic war, which I want to see happen. I want to see, you know, a larger, you know, intergalactic war, because I think that would be really, really cool to see.
I don't need to see any more Independence Day movies.
I mean,
Just like...
they're really cocky about getting a third, and I think if they're gonna get a third, I mean, it better be larger than Earth, because a lot of the destruction in this movie is implausible to just have it on Earth, because I'm pretty sure the ship is like 1/3 the size of Earth. Like, it's ridiculous to see, like, the destruction it causes, and how there's no, like, real damaging Earth effects, like, to the climate or anything. Like, your suspension of disbelief, like, you have to just
turn your
you
brain
just
off.
have to turn it off.
Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just turn your brain off.
Well, that was more like, okay, this movie's a cartoon. This movie, like, it wants you to take it seriously. But you cannot try and make logistical sense of it. Which I think I can't forgive. Like, if I have to turn my brain off in a serious movie, then that's a strike against it.
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles can get a pass on that because it's a cartoonish movie. And it's meant to be silly, and it's meant to not be serious.
So, about Will Smith's character.
Oh yeah, Will Smith's in this movie.
Well, fair spoiler.
A picture of him is in this movie.
Actually, 2 pictures. One in the beginning, there's like this big, huge picture, you know.
He's dead.
Yeah, he died.
He's fucking dead. Like, I mean, I figured that, like, he wouldn't be alive or something. And I can deal with that. But you wanna know how he fucking died? A test. Like a plane test or something.
Yeah, like, he didn't go out like a hero or whatever.
You're talking about the guy who fucking punched an alien in the face, and you're gonna kill him off like some little bitch?
Might as well choked on pie. I mean, like, why?
Like, that's...
You know, I always hate it, like, when in sequels, there are, like, certain characters that don't come back, and, like, probably because actors just don't want to do it, and they, like, just forget about them. Like, that always bothers me, but you killed him off in such a stupid way.
Yeah, like, this movie would have really, 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 really been improved if Will Smith was in it.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, in one of the scenes in particular, which I will talk about later. His son is one of the main characters of the movie, or, like, I mean, one of the
50 main characters in this movie.
Because everyone's trying to balance for screen time, but he's, like, the most memorable character alongside the original cast. You have this guy who's trying to, you know, be there for his wife, or his fiance.
Yeah.
I thought it was fucking Chris Hemsworth at first.
I think isn't it Liam Hemsworth?
I think it's his son. Whoever he plays. I mean, none of the characters are that memorable. They're good actors, for the most part, but nothing about them mattered to me.
Yeah.
There were 2 people in particular that did not need to be in this movie whatsoever. One of Jeff Goldblum's buddies, like, that were introduced to at the beginning of the movie, he wears glasses too, and he hangs around with the warlord.
Again, another guy always trying to be funny, but never is.
Yeah, he's one of the comic reliefs of the movie, but he had no business being in the movie. Like, he could have been completely taken out of the movie, and it would have spared, like, 5 minutes. Maybe helped the runtime. Like, he did not need to be in this movie whatsoever. And the second was the guy that got choked. And he wakes up from a fucking coma.
Oh, yeah.
So, now that emotional tension and, like, horror from the original, where you saw for the first time the scientist being choked, and, you know, the aliens communicating through the body, everyone thought he was dead. Like, now that's gone, and we now don't have a reason to fear, you know, the old president going into the isolation chamber.
Yeah, and he gets choked
and
as well.
He has the gonads to try and say, they're gonna kill him. Like, we just saw that, like, apparently you don't die from whatever the hell that is, so...
Right.
Like, there are so many bright spots in this movie where I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be great, and then they just drop the ball.
I think I'm gonna give it a 5.
I'm gonna give it a 4, because there are bright spots in the movie, but the movie is just dull when nothing is happening. Like, there's all these character development moments that don't develop the character. I mean, and that's most of the movie, because most of the movie just sucks. Whatever, with a consensus of 4.5 out of 10. Unfortunately, Independence Day Resurgence is a resurgence out of the Taco Bell that I ate a shit sandwich. Thank you guys so much for watching. I would recommend seeing this movie when it comes out for jack shit, or just torrenting it online. Don't pay money to see this movie.
No.
It's really not worth it. Not with Finding Dory out or the BFG. Or probably Free State of Jones or The Shallows, which we have yet to review, which will probably be what we review next, Tarek.
Secret Life of Pets.
He wants to see Secret Life of Pets, but we gotta see the other two before they stop being in theaters. So.
We don't have to. There's already tons of reviews for Free State of Jones and the...
I don't think there is, Tarek.
Yeah, there's a few in the other movie.
You don't even know.
I don't even know what the other movie's called.
The Shallows.
I've never even heard about it until
Right,
you.
so, with that being said, Tarek and I will catch you next time, or whoever's in that seat. Just calm down.
No. I had to see this movie.
See you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.
So pretty much the reason why I think Will Smith should have been in this movie, to give some closure to his character for one, and there's a moment in particular that would have been a much, much, much more emotional moment, because his son, like his character's son, is one of the main characters, and you know, the mom is still alive, and once the aliens start coming, they have to evacuate the hospital, and they get on the helipad to get evacuated, the mom and some lady with her baby she's helping. So the building falls apart and the mom dies, and I think it would have been a much more emotional moment if Will Smith and the mom was helping people evacuate, and when they weren't gonna make it, they like hugged each other or something, and then the building came down and you saw Will Smith and the mom die. That would have been such a better way to handle his death. Not kill him off like a fucking cunt. I mean, he fucking punched an alien in the face! How are you gonna kill him off like that?
I mean, they really couldn't. I don't think they could get him at all in this movie.
I mean, just for 5 minutes, like, it would have been so much better.
I don't know, but now, like, because he was doing Suicide Squad or whatever, but now they can't bring him in the third one at all.
I mean, you could have had him missing or even in a coma. I mean, because I guess that's a okay thing to do in Hollywood in 2016. Have Will Smith in a coma. Like,
you know, that would really suck. Like, when he was in a coma, he, like, wakes up and, like, he was,
yeah, and his wife is dead. That why don't I work for Fox? Good. So, rest assured the aliens have upgraded their antivirus software. But the way that they defeat the aliens in this one is almost, or if not more, stupid.
How so?
Well, they bait them with human technology somehow. They're trying to get the mothership away from this foreign sphere thing that has the secrets to defeating them, which sets up the sequel that they're really, really hoping can happen.
Oh my God.
So they use human technology, and it works to, like, bait them away. And then once they destroy the ship, like, the president sacrifices himself, or the old president, the ship blows up, and then, like, that was one of the coolest moments. Like, they shield it around with the alien technology, and so the explosion is contained. So they take the shields down, and then the queen rises out of the ashes or something. And, I mean, they did not know how to end this movie. They just kept trying and trying and trying to drag it out.
I know, it felt like they were dragging it. I'm like, as soon as it got to that point, I was like, okay, can we, like, wrap this up, please?
Yeah, so the queen has her own shield, which is cool because now it's impervious. So they're trying to shoot the queen and she's not getting hurt. The problem is they keep shooting
and then the shield just goes down. Like,
so the queen dies. The aliens see that the humans are trying to hide the sphere, so they're trying to get the sphere, but then the queen dies and everything else just dies. And then that's when the really awful ending happens that sets up Independence Day 3.
I mean, just the way, like, it ended.
Yeah,
what did he say? Like,
he might as well have looked to the camera and been like, and I'll see you in Independence Day Extinction.
Sequel bait.
They're like, you should see, you know, all the weapons and the technology from this other world. Oh, we're about to kick some ass. So badass.
Oh yeah, they're really confident.
They're up their own ass with how badass this movie is.